This is Colin Dixon with Endscreen Media, and I'm at TV Connect 2018 talking to Simon Adams, who is General Manager of Video and Sports at Gracenote. Hey, how are you doing, Simon? Now, data, pretty dull subject, but it is probably the most important thing powering pretty much every new feature that we're seeing in media these days, right?
Absolutely. I mean, with the explosion of content, if you want to find anything, you need metadata. And at Gracenote, I think we count ourselves as the largest provider of tune-in, discovery and engagement metadata in the world across music, across video and across sports.
Yeah, big data indeed.
Big data.
Now, I wanted to explore with you some of the more advanced features that you're powering, but let's talk a little bit about sports first. That's your speciality.
Yeah.
Sports is probably one of the most data-intensive things that we watch. Talk a little bit about the data that you're providing there and how you help power the experience of sports on TV.
Sure. So we do two different things. One is we create the basic statistical information around the games, be it the English Premier League, the NFL, the NBA, or indeed the Olympics. We distribute the Olympics data feed and normalize that and provide information to various websites and widgets that we power. But we also then connect that to our TV schedule information data so that you can really find the right content that you want to watch and drive that engagement experience.
Right, and you can do things like anticipate when a game might go long and tell a DVR to stay recorded.
Yeah, we have something called DVR Extend, so we have algorithms that work on how the score is running, how long it is towards the end of the game, and whether the game is likely to go into extra time or overtime. And yes, we can provide those notifications.
And you can also, you're powering a really personalised experience of sports. You were doing X1's Olympics coverage?
We certainly powered the NBC Olympics website experience, all of the medal tables, all of the links through to the replays or the single person runs on the snowboard or the downhill skiing. And also all of the athlete biographies, so that if on X1 you asked to find out who Chloe Kim or Red Gerard or Shaun White were, then the information that came up would have been produced by us.
Indeed. So let's talk a little bit about AI. This is probably one of the newer technologies that's being applied by data. How are you using AI to improve the metadata set that you have?
Well, we find that with the explosion in content, it's impossible just to throw more hands at that data generation all the time. So we have to automate it to really be scalable and produce the amount of information that is needed to drive the user experience today. So we look at machine learning. So we have an initiative to build out a new set of enhanced keywords. And we have editors that build training lists. And then we have machine learning, which will generate those on the fly to get to, a 70,000 program list that is big enough then to start to drive user engagement.
And you can do things like automatically generate the screen art that is used for a show, right?
Yes, so one of the big things that's happened over recent years is really binge watching and the need for episodic images.
Yeah.
So if you think about something like Game of Thrones, every episode has a different image to try and describe what's going on in that show. Well, that's fine for a modern sort of TV episode, but when you think about the first series of Star Trek or I Love Lucy, and you want to binge watch that, episodic imagery wasn't really thought about. So we use AI to create that for each of those shows, and we add a couple of 100,000 images a year, building out those episodic images.
Indeed. So you are the power, I think, that's behind advanced features like voice. Talk about some of the stuff that goes underneath the underpinnings of voice that you have to make enabled.
Sure. Well, when you think about it, voice really is you have a piece of technology which will take what you speak, turn it into text, and then once you've got that text, that has to link to a show or a piece of content or a celebrity. And obviously with the spoken word, people can say anything. And so we have to create metadata sets, whether it's also known as or aliases for shows. So on a traditional user experience with a remote control, you may put in Game of Thrones. But when you're talking to a voice
system,
you could say find GOT.
Yeah.
So if it's music, it could be the Beatles, it could be the Fab Four. And so we have to create all of those aliases so that when that entity is produced and is sent to the AI to understand it, it's got to link back to the original piece.
That's one of the things that's so hard about metadata. It's not a static thing. The way we talk and think about media changes all the time, doesn't it?
And as it evolves, it'll become more conversational.
Yeah.
Even if you replace the standard remote control commands, in the US, do you ask in LA for Channel 5, for KTLA, for Fox LA? All of those things have to be linked together so that it will tune to the right station.
Indeed. And one last question. Let's talk a little bit about another advanced technology that you're using, ACR. Mm-hmm. Tell us about ACR and how it's helping improve the data set again.
Yeah, sure. So we have audio content recognition, so video fingerprinting available in many of the smart TVs that are available today in the US from LG, from Roku, from Samsung. And so every half a second we're taking a screen fingerprint to understand what people are doing, what people are watching. And obviously that gives us a lot of information around, when they're tuning out of a show, how popular a show is at any given time, to provide additional information when you're providing search results. What's trending, what's popular. We can add all of that in to improve the overall experience.
Right, and that of course is happening right in the television set?
That happens in the television set, so if you're connected to the internet, we take the fingerprint, it goes to our CDN, compares it to what's flowing through the CDN. We generate, at the moment, probably 6 trillion pieces of data on a monthly basis for the ACR business. It's where the future is.
Yeah. It occurs to me that metadata, the data about the video, is the real power behind the throne. It's the power that's driving all of the new features.
And it's an increasingly important thing.
Yeah.
With more and more content, it's more and more difficult to find, and you've got to have the right metadata in place to allow the user to get to where they want to go.
Rob, I hope when you have some new fun features, you'll come back and talk to us again.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks a lot.
This has been Colin Dixon with Endscreen Media.